would you walk into a random sporting goods store, just grab a set of sticks and go compete? And when your money's on the line. The club fitting for your mind, Veronica.
Mhm.
It's that important. People need to have this into their lessons. They need to be reminded of these things. They can't go out with just a generalized approach. You wouldn't do it with your golf clubs. Your golf clubs aren't nearly as personal as your brain, your
Mhm.
approach, and how we get things done. This is the easiest way to get this across to players. Even your high handicappers, guess what? They got a custom set of clubs. They spent $1,500 on their
Yeah.
irons, and they went through a 2-hour club fitting process and hit the full lineup of PXG clubs or whatever it was, and find that right fit. That's what this is. Now, when you look at the psychology books, they're anecdotal. They try to make you, let's say if you were my best player, they put your approach out and try to make everybody fall into that approach, but I might not succeed with your golf clubs. Your shafts might not work for me. Your mental approach is even more detrimental if it doesn't fit me. And here's the reason why. It is much more than if a person is, like, let's say, vocalizing their golf shot to get their brain to work better. We brought up the subtle indicators of stress. This is the violent little cycle going on under the surface players have never picked up on. They run to the range and they never see the improvement, because when they go to the range, this mental stress or the fear of a consequence or a perceived threat in their mind is released. What that actually means is the whole chemical and hormonal process in their brain is shifted. When, let's say, an extroverted player starts getting really quiet, what that actually means is his brain is secreting cortisol and adrenaline at an increased level. Now, why is that significant? Because just a little bit of an increase, just a small percentage, can inhibit the motor cortex. You can't swing a golf swing with the motor cortex, or make a golf movement with the motor cortex shut down. It's the same thing is like the movement never goes away. The motion doesn't break down. Both of you train swing. If you are going to rebuild a golf swing, that's at least a year-long process to change motion. It's at least a year of extensive work with people. It doesn't change that quick. Austin got hurt. He hasn't hit balls in 2 years. He's getting back at it. He's still shooting in the 60s. His swing looks amazing. It just lacks speed. But the motion is intact, like riding bicycles, like getting in a vehicle. So what is changing this performance if they're consistent on the range? It's the chemical release in their brain that's inhibiting the motor cortex. The cortisol is a paralytic. So a small bit of paralytic going into your system, well, that might just make a little tension, let's say on your neck and shoulders area. Well, that could throw off a golf swing of a player that's swinging at 115 miles an hour. Well, that could be just from the result of that player being on the wrong side of the focus line. And that's indicating, these are indicators that that stress response is happening at some level. Now, Michael is a hell of a player, but on day 2 of his tournament, he had too much cortisol release going on. How did your golf swing feel, Michael?
I just felt awful. Felt like I'd never played before.
And this is the connection we have to make, because his golf swing didn't change. He just didn't wake up one morning and his brain says, I'm not going to make that move today off the tee. I'm just not doing it. It was his fear or the threat in his mind of letting his teammates down. Now, for a thinker, he's moving into that core concept of putting his people in the round first before him doing his job. What that is for Michael is an indicator. His brain stressed. What did happen to performance? It broke down. I talked to Michael after the round. I said, Michael, you are evaluating this improperly. I want you tomorrow to put your job first, task first, and then you can look at how the people are responding. But your job is primary. He went out that simple shift, went out and applied it. Completely different performance, different swing performance. Why did the swing change? It wasn't because he had Taco Bell after his round and that was his ritual. No, it was because the perceived threat or consequence wasn't there. So less cortisol, less adrenaline. The motor cortex of his brain can allow his body to make freedom of motion. Every golfer has experienced this. You struggle on the front nine. You finally relinquish your desire or this notion, I have to score. Oh, I already blew up my score. Relaxed. Stress goes, suddenly they have it back. No. They relinquish the stress. A player gets off to a fast start. That sensor starts jumping out into the future, holding the trophy. What are my friends going to think? Suddenly there's a big derailing of performance. What the hell happened to the swing that was so beautiful on these first 9 holes? We can't delude ourselves into thinking that the motion broke down that dramatic. It can't happen. The thing that changed performance just in every other context of life is the stress. There was a mental shift in some way. Now, what we help to do is elevate those blind spots. Like, Michael, that happened because you changed your focus from your job and now you're worrying about your teammate. That's what happened at the 9th hole. This is why the swing wasn't there. These are the connections we want to make with our players, because the moment they do it, they hold consistent performance in their hands. And they're literally over time can become their own coach. They literally, like Austin, he knows what I'm going to say. I don't even need to say anything. I can just flash him a look. He's like, you know, John, I didn't tell you clearly my strategy there. And he'll tell me, walking to the next shot, he goes, from here on out, I'm telling you everything I'm doing on my shot. And he walks through it. He already makes his adjustment. What happens now is that stretch isn't 9 holes. It isn't 2 weeks of bad play. It starts getting minimized. So our goal as coaches now is how many holes can we string together doing things to our strengths? Okay, you got 4 holes. That's perfect. Let's make it 5. That's the goal next time. Let's string along more processes like this. And pretty soon players are completely empowered and suddenly they're getting the best out of their golf swing. This is the performance aspect. Now, what do they got to be also doing? Developing all of their technical ability, because they have to have technical ability to, you know, have ultimate performance. But if sole focus is on technical ability, you're going to have guys that are out and ladies that have great looking golf swings, but are unproductive on the course. And that's the worst tragedy, because they scratch their heads, they have put in the work, the time, they have great technique, and yet they can't bring it out. They feel like they're underperforming and all these things. It's this is the connection the golf world's never made. Think about it in school. Students can study. They have this thing called test anxiety. What happens with a student in test anxiety, fearing that they're going to get a bad score or whatever that perceived consequence is? Those kids, their brain shut down. It affects their memory, their recall ability, their ability to process and answer questions correctly. It's a known fact. Speaking, public speaking is the #1 fear in the world. People go up and they get tongue-tied. The most articulate people is suddenly they're standing in front of a couple of people and they can't talk. The stress or the fear of looking bad or humiliating themselves, whatever that stress is, prevents people from doing that. But it's a well-known fact, the brain in the articulation shuts down. Golfers have just yet to realize their mental performance and is connected to their swing. It isn't separate. It is one and the same. And why do they hit it good on the range? No consequence. There's zero stress. But this is the big push for the golf world. And if we can make this link, literally, we revolutionize the game. People will get more out of their game. They're going to have more enjoyment. We're going to finally see those low 50 scores. We're going to see some people really go off out there. And it's something every player can benefit from, because every player is swinging the club and wants the best out of themselves. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox. I
love it, John. That hit. I was taking notes here, so I like the club fitter for the mind, because yeah, that's like sometimes hard to communicate like to people what just the importance of it. You know, you see quotes like Jack Nicklaus, 90% of golf is mental and things like that, and it's like people know it, but they don't understand it. And it's like when you can break it down in a metaphor like that, I feel like with club fitting, because you're right. I mean, my uncle's a terrible golfer, and he has custom fitted clubs, you know, and so it's one of those things. And he has the worst mental game I've ever seen. He just refuses to accept that that's part of it. And I've never seen anyone melt down more in tournaments than him. Seriously, I mean, it's truly sad to see. He's an extrovert. He goes introvert. I mean, he goes against everything now that I know all this stuff. And yeah, unfortunately, he's kind of injured right now and not playing, but it makes so much sense. So I really enjoyed that, because yeah, sometimes communicating your value to people, but then also the fact that they get to eventually coach themselves. You know, even in day 3 when I was out there, I was coaching myself, like having to remind myself, do your job, do your job, do your job. But it's so nice when you have that toolbox on the golf course, because no one's coming to save you. We can't all have John Weir on the bag. And so it's nice when you have that skill set.